about the crypto ETF situation and what that means for the markets, right? If you've been paying attention in crypto and in AltFi and TradFi and seeing the information coming out of the SEC and the US government in general, and how the SEC basically wants to basically be the top dog when it comes to rules and regulations for crypto and not include necessarily the FTC and or the CFTC in all this. Um, but in any case, however the regulation bodies divvy up the authority over crypto and DeFi and TradFi and hybrids with TradFi and DeFi and crypto, we are seeing a greater push for more ETFs in the crypto space, right, from different altcoins. There's a large number of them, and we've been talking about this for a while on this channel. And I've been saying to you guys how very much we're likely to see XRP and even Solana, and I would not be surprised to see a Litecoin ETF, even though Litecoin's not part of the digital currency reserve or whatever. Also wouldn't be surprised to see the Cardano ETF. Anything as part of the national digital currency reserve, and of course the Bitcoin reserve. Those are going to be things that will very likely get ETFs, and even top contenders like I keep saying Litecoin because, in my view, it's a very, very, very obvious top contender for an ETF because of all the obvious reasons, right? It's basically Bitcoin Lite, if you want to call it that. There's only 4 times as many Litecoins as there are Bitcoins, and you can get more than 1,000 Litecoins for a single Bitcoin right now. It is just insane, right? All the same technology, everything runs on Bitcoin, runs on Litecoin, and it's run on Litecoin first. Litecoin is where things are tested out first when it comes to major changes or whatever, even not so major changes, right? Litecoin for many years has always been the place where developers test out code first. That's the whole point of Litecoin, right? Originally. It has clearly evolved since then and taken on a life of its own. But to think that Litecoin is only worth less than 1,000th of the market cap of Bitcoin is just insane, right? Or less than whatever the number, because it's 4 times as many. So less than 1/250th of the market cap of Bitcoin is crazy, right? By all intents and purposes, like by all logical reasons, you're going to see Litecoin's price, in my opinion, have an explosion in the coming months and years to levels that most people, I don't think they can even comprehend. Because they're all, people in crypto are like laughing off Litecoin constantly. Like, there's people, sure, Litecoin has its share of fans, but most people, in crypto, a lot of them are degens, sure. A lot of them, hello there, I see you, Bader, IGB, nice to see you. Litecoin is not a coin to dismiss. A lot of people do because they don't see it as fast gains, go to the moon kind of thing, and that's what people are looking for in crypto. Let's be honest, a lot of degens are looking for that, and there's a lot of who's the most active in crypto right now. It's the developers, obviously the businesses and the huge buyers and the banks and governments and everything else. But in terms of the retail space, the ones who make the most noise and are rattling their cages, yeah, sure, they're probably just mostly keyboard warriors. But the ones who are in it for all the worst reasons, really, are are the degens, the flippers, the cheaters who like, buy an NFT for 70 cents and sell it for 85 cents or whatever. You know what I mean? Like they're not, they're not necessarily looking for something long term and solid. And Litecoin is very long term and solid in its development and its rollout and its, you know, how it works. It's a fantastic coin, in my opinion. And the fact that it's literally, I mean, so cheap, as cheap as it is, compared to like the price of BTC, is just insane to me. Um, but I mean, I get why that is. It's crazy. It's amazing to see market forces in action. Like the greed is so spectacular in the space that people are basically ignoring this incredibly powerful coin, and also Cardano said similar things about that. Right, very incredible protocol. Right, extremely powerful decentralized cryptocurrency that is basically, you know, rolling out slowly but surely one of the most incredible cryptos that we've really seen in terms of what it can do. And yet it remains a remarkably cheap asset. Now, of course, there's not only 21 million Cardano. Obviously, it's a different metric, it's a different size market and all that. But the point is, Cardano, in my opinion, is highly undervalued. And we'll see that in the coming years. Right? Maybe this year, maybe next year, maybe the year after. Doesn't matter. Maybe 5 years from now. Cardano is probably going to do extremely well. Who knows? Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it'll go to zero or something. But sure doesn't look like it. Not the way it's been developing. And of course, you know, the ETFs that are being pushed right now, and the SEC has said that they might do away with some of the regulations that ETFs have to file, like some of the documentation that they need to file to launch their ETFs. They're going to do away with, and they're working with various exchanges to make it easier to file or create, different types of products. It tells you something, right? It tells you, as I said in the previous video and in many other videos, that there is a demand. It is not shrinking. If anything, it is growing very rapidly. There's a demand for these products. There is a thinning supply of the top dogs, Bitcoin and ETH, and there's beginning to be a thinning supply on some other ones as well, but those are the two main ones. And there can really only be one thing that happens when there's a continual demand and decreasing supply. And just the fact that the top two coins are vastly owned by the wealthiest organizations and wallets and, whales and banks and governments in the world, and means there's not much left for the average person. So if you have any, you're already ahead of the game. It's crazy. I know it sounds crazy. At this point, if you have more than 0.003 Bitcoin, like 3/1000th of a Bitcoin, you're already ahead of the game. Like a few $100 worth, you're already ahead of the game. Which I know sounds crazy, but if you do the math, that's how it works out. Same thing with Ethereum. If you have even like, you can't stake with, a tiny amount necessarily, but if you have like even a quarter of an ETH at the current price, you're ahead of the market, right? In terms of the retail market, right? I know it sounds crazy, but a quarter of an ETH is like more than $500, and most people can't afford a $500 bill in the U.S. So just put that in perspective and keep on keeping on. All right. See you guys.